world's people have spoken. Their message is clear. Time is running out.
I think that the discovery of extraterrestrial intelligent life will be the most important discovery, perhaps ever.
So these extraterrestrials, which you call star beings, are concerned about how we are destroying our own planet?
Absolutely. Because it has an effect on the entire cosmos. If this planet is destroyed, the atmosphere feels it.
What if I told you that the answers to life's greatest questions were right at our fingertips?
It will be enormous. We will learn things of science, of engineering, of sociology, of ways of life, of ways of protecting the climate, of ways of perhaps even colonizing other planets of a planetary system.
And that one man has a direct link to it all.
I know this will sound a little funny in your language, but the truth of it is that life is meaningless. What I mean by that is there is no automatic built-in meaning to anything. If you want to put it another way, you could say the meaning of life is for you to give it meaning.
Would you believe me? My name is Serena DC, and over the last few years, my team and I have devoted our lives to researching extraterrestrials and exploring multiple ways to initiate contact with life beyond Earth.
Something was happening in our skies, and the people couldn't understand what it was. We spoke about UFOs, but nobody really knew.
So when I came across a man named Darryl Anka and his alleged connection to an alien civilization, I had to investigate further.
I'm Darryl Anka, and I am a channel for an entity that we call Bashar.
So we're looking at a picture of Darryl's baseline EEG. And what I've done is to record Darryl's baseline when he is not channeling and compare that to his EEG when he is channeling.
And the channeling state in the brain is called the gamma state, and it's between 40 and 100 cycles per second. When anyone is in the zone, when they're doing what they love to do and you feel like time has disappeared, you're in the channeling state.
For the last 40 years, Darryl has been traveling across the globe, filling out event spaces with thousands of people in attendance, all of whom gather together to watch him channel an extraterrestrial that he calls Bashar.
I appreciate the tireless work that you've done over the last, 4 decades now that you've been working?
This is the 40th year, yeah, of
that you've been working with Bashar and channeling Bashar and his amazing teachings.
I'll say good day to you this day of your time. How are you all?
He starts from a very stable resting state. And then he experiences changes that statistically less than 1% of the population would experience in the same way.
Intrigued, I had my team reach out to Darryl to see if he'd be interested in meeting with me, but more so to see if I'd be able to secure the world's first interview with an extraterrestrial. And this is what happened next.
So how do you feel about going and meeting him in person?
I mean, I'm still extremely skeptical. You know, like I'm an experiencer of UFOs.
Yeah.
But you know, I've never had any direct contact with extraterrestrials. Like the jury's still out on what's going on and whether or not we've ever really been contacted before. And then this guy is sort of claiming that not only has he met an extraterrestrial, but he channels one. But what I'm excited about today is I'm going to actually get to eyeball him, like eye to eye. Like what I really want you to do when we're filming is have a camera just trained straight on his face. Because you know how when people lie, you can kind of tell, you know, their eyes move in a certain way. They look up or they look to the side. I really want to use like my skills, my powers of like deduction but to figure out if he's telling the truth or if he's full of shit.
Right, yeah.
Hi, Darryl. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. Thank you so much for inviting me into your home.
Absolutely.
Darryl told me all about his life growing up here in Los Angeles and the path that led him to a successful career in filmmaking and miniature sculpting for multiple blockbuster movies. A passion that ultimately led him to where he was always supposed to be.
So you've worked in the television and film industry for a long time.
Yeah.
And I guess you were working in it when you were 30, 31
My
years
30s,
old,
yeah.
right? That's right. And during that period of time, something really remarkable happened to you. Probably one of the most remarkable things I've ever heard of in my entire life. So I was wondering if you wouldn't mind sharing the story of how you had your first encounter with something not from this place.
Yeah, that actually happened when I was in my 20s.
Right.
In terms of a UFO sighting that
Yes.
we had here over Los Angeles. We were coming back from somewhere, I don't remember, driving from West LA back into the valley.
So who were you with? Like, set the scene for me.
I was with a very good friend of mine named Tracy.
Mm-hmm.
My brother and sister were in the back seat, and one of her brothers, Corey, in the back seat. My brother James, my sister Jen. And it was just before dusk. And there is a hotel, about a 12-story hotel, down at the junction of the two freeways at the bottom in the valley.
Right.
And because I'm driving, I'm looking ahead. They're not paying attention because they're just chatting. And I see these two lights, really bright white lights, hanging over this hotel. As we got closer and closer, I brought everyone's attention to it. I said, guys, look at these lights down there. It's like they don't look like they're going anywhere. They're just hovering above the hotel, which is odd.
Yeah.
And as I drove past, it went from the left side across. So as I came around, it was on my left again. And we're all just looking at this, trying to be like, oh my God, the triangular, the lights. There was this dull red orange light in the center underneath, along with these bright blue and white lights on the corners. And it just took off like glass over the valley and disappeared over the mountains. But it's like, it was so hard to describe how it moved because it was literally like something sliding on a sheet of glass. Like, and you see a little airplane and it kind of like bobbles and, you know, like that. This was literally just like straight across and it disappeared. And we're all like, oh my God, what just happened?
Right.
The weirdest thing was that a week later, I was driving in West LA with Tracy again, by ourselves, and we stopped at a light, and we're waiting for the light to change. And this ship, or one just like it, comes gliding over the road, and we're going, again? And so I literally started following it. I made a hard right. It was going over the neighborhood. It was kind of zigzagging. Tracy was literally like leaning out the window, telling, because there was a lot of trees. I couldn't see where I was. I had to keep my eye on the road. And she was going, turn left here, turn right here. It's like over there, it's over there. Wow. Finally, you know, as we're zigging and zagging, we kind of lost it and go, where to go, where to go? And just on a hunch, I just made a right down the street and she just screamed, stop the car. And I slammed on the brakes and we looked out. This thing was hovering about 60 feet above us. And it just took off straight up in the blink of an eye, just went like that, and it was gone. And we looked around, and there was nobody on that street. There was nobody walking their dog, watering their lawn. It was just like we're in this weird reality where there was no one else but us and this UFO. It was those sightings that really turned the world upside down for me and started me to investigate what this was all about, because now I'd seen something completely real that was supposed to not be real at all. And eventually I came across all sorts of other metaphysical information, such as channeling And I was introduced to a channel who was practicing at the time and went to the seminars and thought there's a lot of interesting information here. Eventually, that particular channel offered to teach a channeling class, and I entered it not because I thought I was going to become a channel. I just wanted to see how something like that could be taught. It was about furthering my research. But during the class, which was full of guided meditations, a connection was made. It was just like somebody just shoved a DVD into my head. Bang, this memory came back of having made an agreement before this life to do this with Bashar. I understood that the UFO was his, and it was shown to me.
The UFO you'd seen 10 years earlier?
That I'd seen 10 years earlier was shown to me on purpose to get me to start researching, to educate me.
To get you ready,
To get me ready, to get me prepared. And I saw an image of his face there, and I heard the word Bashar. Now, it's an Arabic word. I don't speak Arabic.
What does it mean?
It means messenger, which is appropriate. But I didn't find that out till years later when somebody said, do you understand that that's an Arabic word? I said, no, I thought it was his name.
Right.
He goes, no, it means messenger or bringer of good news. So I go, it's appropriate for what he's doing. And we needed something to call him because in their civilization, they're telepathic. They don't have names.
Right.
But he knows we need something.
So it was less his name and more his title, really.
More what he is, what he's doing. And so all this happened in my head in a split second. I hadn't said anything to anyone. But the minute this happened, the entity coming through the channel stopped talking to the class and turned right to me and said, there's an entity here for you right now if you're ready to begin. I happened to glance behind me, and one of the other classmates somehow had picked up on Bashar's face. She was actually sketching it on a piece of paper. So I knew right away I had two.
So at the same time that you were having this vision.
At the same time, she saw the same
was doing
face.
the same thing. Wow.
And I said, okay, I have two outside validations. This is not just my imagination.
What did that image look like? The image that the girl drew and what you saw?
I can draw it for you if you want.
Like now?
Like now.
Can we get a pen, please? Paper?
Yep.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah. So this is basically what I saw. Very large eyes, very small nose, very small mouth, small ears.
But still sort of humanoid in...
Humanoid in general, yes, and pale, pale white. I mean, like paper this white.
And did you just see his face in that moment?
I just saw his face in that moment. And this is kind of like what...
Hair?
Nothing. No. This is kind of like what the person was sketching behind me, was almost exactly this idea.
No.
And that's rough, but you get the idea.
You're a great drawer.
The first communication was in that moment where he said, now you are ready to begin if this is still something you want to do. Is it? And so I had to stop for a minute and go, okay, am I hallucinating? Is this my imagination?
Do I say yes? Do I say no?
Yeah. But again, like I said, these two other things happened that sort of validated that something was happening, and then getting offered the opportunity later to co-channel the next class, which is, by the way, where I met my wife, Erica.
So that first encounter that you had during that meditation, you know, obviously a mind-blowing experience, and it set your life on an insane trajectory, but seemingly the one you were supposed to be on.
Absolutely.
Tell me a little bit about the first few years of your interactions with Bashar.
Yeah, well, at the end of the class, a woman named Margot came, and she was looking to do a thesis paper on the connection between psychology and channeling. And she needed subjects to study, and I became one of the subjects. And I would go to her house, and I would sit in the living room, and I would channel, and she'd invite like 5 friends over. And I'd channel to them. They would record it.
And what, she was trying to hyper-analyze you?
Well,
and
she
see
was
what
like
you were
taking
doing
notes. Yeah, she was observing and taking notes about, you know, what Bashar was saying and also what I was going through as a channel. But then the next week, 10 friends were there. And the week after that, 20 friends were there.
You gotta come see this guy.
Exactly, and they started sharing all the recordings, right? And this went on to the point where we had to do it more than once a week. We had to now do it in different houses because we needed more room.
And was it just more and more new information constantly?
Just constant information coming through. And then eventually someone got one of those recordings from Japan and they said, can you come and channel in Japan? And I said, okay. And so they flew me out. I did a session there, and I've been back there now 18 times doing sessions for Japanese groups. So it just kind of started leading me into different cities around the world. I've now probably channeled in more than 30 cities around the planet.
And why do you do that? Is it because you want to give everyone the opportunity to ask their questions?
Absolutely, because everyone has all sorts of different questions, and Bashar seems very capable of handling all of that. Now, in the beginning, when Bashar was there, his energy was very powerful, very strong, and it was hard to handle. It was hard to hold on to it. It's like having this pressure build in your body. It's a higher frequency, and it's like your nerves can't quite handle it. I sometimes use the analogy, it's like trying to shove Hoover Dam through a garden hose, right? The pressure is there.
Literally, like, just you physically can
literally feel it.
And would it make you, like, feel anxious? Like, is it that kind of, like, overwhelming?
Kind of. For a while, for the first couple of years, it took me a very long time to get used to it. It was like I would come down with fevers before I would channel. I would feel like my neck was locked. It was very painful.
Like an anticipation kind of?
This in the back of the neck, I've come to understand, is the channeling chakra. It's where the connections happen. So it was just kind of like, you're not used to this. You got to relax, 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 relax. And the more I relaxed, the more I trusted it. Then it shifted after a couple of years to where it didn't make me tired and worn out. It actually started buoying me up. You know how if you're standing in the ocean, but in a shallow part where the water's like maybe up to here, and a wave comes and you get that lift?
Yep.
It was like that. So now I was riding the wave of his energy.
Right.
And at the end of the channeling, it would leave me with energy. It was no longer tiring. But I find that the thing that I love about Bashar's information is it registers with people on a very pragmatic level, because he's really good at taking esoteric metaphysical concepts and saying, this is why it works. Here's the physics of it. Here's the energy frequency of it.
Don't believe me, here's the proof.
Yeah, here's the proof. And the proof is, do this and you'll get the effect. You don't have to believe he's real, but the information has a real effect in our lives. And I'm living proof of that, because my life has changed drastically by applying his information. The one thing that Bashar talks about, like I said, is passion, and he explains why that's important. And when I allow myself to really apply that in my life, magic happens, synchronicity happens, everything just expands. And that's, I think, been the most impactful thing in my life. It's changed me emotionally, it's changed me mentally, it's changed me even physically. So it's that idea of the passion, the vibration, the experience, the feeling is actually a vibration that is your true core frequency. And when you can understand that and allow yourself to live your truth, then like I said, everything just opens up. And that, I think, the most impactful thing is being able to actually see that at work, to see that happen, to see physical reality sort of mold itself to that passion synchronistically. It just changes your whole perspective. It just changes everything about your life.
How were you able to maintain living a Darryl life, meaning working in film, having a marriage, being a human, when, every second day, you're channeling an extraterrestrial? How are you able to sort of maintain that balance and not get swept up in it all and let it consume you?
Well, I know that that's not what I want for my life, in terms of, again, how important it is for me to balance this with following my own passion, because Bashar is very big on saying, follow your passion in life.
That's the core of
That's the core of his message, and there are many principles that go along with that. But just to keep it simple, follow your passion. If I'm not allowed to follow my passions, then I'm not getting anything out of it. I'm just being a telephone. It's very important for the channel themselves to evolve and to grow, which actually helps the channeling too, because you open up more and you expand more and more can come through.
You're like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Exactly. So if you're not allowing yourself to live the full life, then the channeling suffers as well. But and it's the principle of, look, I'm not here to control you. I'm here to help, I'm here to augment, I'm here to give you the tools that you can use to make your life more enjoyable, but you have to use them, and you have to use them in your daily life. And then you become a living example of what it's like to do that, because that's the way you can help other people. It's not just about sharing ideas.
No, you need to lead by example.
You have to lead by example, and therefore when people see that, they go, why is that person so happy? What are they doing that I don't know about? And you start rubbing off on them in a sense. They give them an option to choose something else for them if they're not living their full life. So that's how you help people, because again, like Bashar says, the only thing you can do is share an idea and give people another option. What they do with it is none of your business, because you don't know their path. You don't know why they're here. You don't know what kind of process they have to go through. But the best you can do is give them the option to know there's another way.
As I got deeper into researching extraterrestrial connection and how it all works, I found that this phenomena was much, much more common than I thought. I was able to meet with a leading expert in hypnosis, whose discovery of extensive ET contact through regressional hypnotherapy has seemingly skyrocketed within the last 10 years.
My name is Sarah Breskman-Cosme. I'm a master hypnotist, a level 3 practitioner of Dolores Cannon's method, and the best-selling author of A Hypnotist's Journey to Atlantis.
So you're an expert in your craft, but were you always passionate about helping people communicate with extraterrestrial civilizations, or did you start off it just as a normal hypnotist? Like, what was your career trajectory? How did we get here?
Well, actually, I was very scientific. I was not into this stuff at all. I wanted to be a psychologist, actually. I wasn't really into hypnosis or past lives. It all sort of happened by
It was just like a
accident.
modality you decided to segue into.
Right. All the stuff with extraterrestrials just sort of happened by accident. This really strange phenomenon started happening in my office. And I didn't really think it was a phenomenon at all. I thought it was just a coincidence where people who had never met started coming in for sessions and started remembering other lifetimes as being an extraterrestrial, or extraterrestrials were channeled through them.
Well, that's interesting, because this was predating you, I guess, advertising or showing the world that this is your specialty. So why you? Why do you think it's happening through you? You're clearly a conduit to it.
I have been asking that question. I have no idea.
You're like a channel to the channel or something like
I
that.
don't know. I mean, I've asked that question so many times, but I do know that I'm on a mission to uncover things and share it. I do understand that because I'm excited to do stuff like that.
One thing that we encountered when we were reaching out to doctors, priests, members of the scientific community to ask them what they wanted to ask an extraterrestrial if they had the opportunity to meet one, was a lot of pushback when it came to channeling. Whenever we would mention channeling, they backed away from the movie. They didn't want to be associated with it. I asked a couple of them why, and they said their biggest concern was that channeling can sometimes be seen as demonic, that potentially you could think you're channeling an extraterrestrial, but really it's a demon. And then they also worried about possession, about this other entity being invited into a body and then choosing not to leave. Does that sort of thing happen? Is that even like logical?
No, nothing can happen to you unless you willingly agree. Each person has full control over their body. They have sovereignty. So unless you allow some sort of demonic entity to come into your body, it wouldn't happen. Plus, so to get really down deep, if you want to, a lot of my clients describe when this planet was first being seeded by extraterrestrials, that this negative energy asserted itself to the planet. Now, no one really knows exactly how it came, but this Earth planet wasn't actually supposed to have this negative energy. It was supposed to be a much different type of experiment, but there's a lot of effort to release this negative energy back into the universe where it comes from, and part of our ascension process is to release it back into the universe, and then later on we'll do this whole cycle again, which is what we always do.
So Darryl says that he doesn't remember anything that Bashar says. He sort of describes it as stepping away. What happens to Darryl in those moments, to Darryl's consciousness? Like, where does it go?
That's a really good question. Well, I would say it's probably more like he's going to sleep a little bit, like he's moving out of the way and he's allowing this other version of himself to use himself as a tool. It's almost like what people call trance channeling, where they allow a spirit or an entity to use their body. I would say it's probably the same thing. And that's what happens in these sessions, where the person's consciousness is moved away for another version of their consciousness to step forward. It's almost like when I contact a person's subconscious, sometimes they don't remember it at all.
So a lot of people would not have heard of the phenomena that I'm about to witness, which is seeing a man, a normal, everyday man, have his body inhabited, or at least his consciousness and his mind inhabited by an extraterrestrial. That seems like such a foreign and crazy concept. But you are a woman that has witnessed this on multiple occasions.
Multiple times.
So, do you believe it? What nuances have you picked up on that these people embody when it happens that make you believe it? Like, why do you believe it?
The first reason is because I know, well, when it first started, I knew these people, they were my friends. And I knew they didn't speak that way. They usually use sentences and phrases that the person normally doesn't say. So that's one key that I look for. Another thing is that they completely forget the information. Sometimes they might remember it a little bit, but it feels like they're in a deep dream and they can't remember very much of it, almost like being underwater, so to speak. And then there's a way to check for false memory, where if you're taking a person and you ask them the same questions, if the answers are the same, then you know it's not false memory. And that's one way you can check about the consciousness that's coming through. But if the messages or the answers are different, then you know it's some sort of false memory. And these are just ways you can check what's going on.
I think regressional hypnotherapy can be a fantastic tool. I know that one of the things that happens a lot of times for a lot of people is that their memories are suppressed. And so I have heard cases where hypnotherapy can unlock those memories. Now, I know that people often say, well, you know, sometimes it can cause false memories or people will, you know, add, embellish things. But I do think that when done properly, I do think it can be a powerful tool for helping people remember events that to them were traumatic and help them come to terms with what happened to them.
My initial speculation about Darryl's ability to interact with this entity is beginning to take a turn. The more I learned about these connections, the more I started to realize how unique Darryl's experiences really are. And when it comes to out-of-this-world experiences, there's only one person that I know I need to talk to.
My name is Paul Hynek. I'm an entrepreneur, professor, and futurist.
Paul's father, J. Allen Hynek, created the world-renowned classification system known as Close Encounters of the First, Second, and Third Kind. Paul has followed close behind his father, dedicating years of work to creating a set of protocols for situations nearly identical to Darryl's connection with Bashar.
I've met a lot of people in my life who say they are either channeling or just have conversations on the regular with some type of supernatural being. It's really hard to say whether something's happened or not, but one of my interests now is developing a protocol, much like my father did with Close Encounters of the First, Second, Third Kind, which described the nature of the encounter. I want to add on to that with not CE 1, 2, and 3, but VE, verifiable encounters, and assign a level of how compelling the evidence was for the case. And specifically what I'm interested in is when people say, I'm in regular contact or I'm channeling somebody. Okay, if you're talking with a super intelligence, I've developed a protocol of types of questions to ask to come back with, because evidence in the UFO community in particular that we bring back, whether it's some strange alloy, or somebody says your Aunt Bertha has the gout, or you humans should knock it off with the nukes, that hasn't really moved the needle for science.
Not at all.
And since my father was a scientist who had a late in life side hustle of UFOs, I have one foot in the science camp and one foot in the UFO camp. I want to bring them together. I don't care what the government says or does. So my interest is in developing a protocol so that experiencers who want to, not everybody cares about objective validation, but for those who want to give them a tool set to take into these encounters, to be proactive and ask a specific set of questions or bring back a specific range of items that are more sort of science friendly, so that scientists would look at this and say, well, now that speaks my language.
Right.
That's interesting.
This is
Let
an
me
anomaly.
lean into this a bit more.
Right. Well, this excites me. And I'm literally, on Monday, going to have a face-to-face encounter with an alleged extraterrestrial. So I need to know what these protocols are.
Right.
This is so cool.
I have a chart for this. I'm happy to share that with
Excellent.
you. And there are some sort of baseline questions to ask first. For me, I've developed different categories: technological, biological, like samples, communications, knowledge, like can you tell us something that will happen in the future? I think the gold standard is math. Now, I'm not a math guy so much, but mathematics is a universal language.
Right.
So one level on that is, okay, if you can ask that superintelligence a question that you couldn't foreseeably answer, like factoring a huge prime number, that's interesting because that's the language science speaks, but you could look it up on your phone. So the gold standard is the Millennium Project has 7 unsolved math problems. The Riemann hypothesis, P versus non-P, etc. And they will award $1 million to anybody who solves one of those problems.
Wow.
So if somebody says, I had this encounter with a meta-terrestrial, and look at this. I brought back the answer, this Joseph Campbell elixir to the village. I've solved this, and that's verified by mathematicians. My friends Michael Shermer, Seth Shostak, Neil deGrasse Tyson, these well-known scientists who lean on the skeptical side of the fence, they won't say, okay, I believe in aliens. They will say, I believe you or somebody has an unparalleled level of intelligence. I want to learn more.
Right.
So now we solve something else. That's how we bring them in. And if we get those scientists involved, that's when we don't worry about disclosure, it's exposure. What could happen is that they could say, that's much too complicated for this conduit of conversation. I wouldn't be surprised if, and it may seem like an out, I don't know, but that may not work. But I think we could come up, and I'd be happy to help you, with a contour, a spectrum of math questions that should meet no resistance.
Right.
So if you'd like, between now and Monday, I can help you come up with some questions.
Wow, yes. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
Great, okay, and I think, I mean, let's just see what he says.
A guy like me come up with a protocol for people who have serial experiences with superintelligence to come across Serena, who in a few days is going to interview an alien who has said they want to demonstrate their objective reality. This is manna from heaven for me. To me, it boils down to, if there's a super intelligent being in regular communication with an Earthling who is willing, wants to help us, wants to be open and communicative, has very few areas that they're not comfortable talking about, and is interested in proving to the satisfaction of the scientific community that they're real, it shouldn't be that hard. And I think if we ask them, help us figure out what to do, help us shape the contours. You know our scientists, help us. And we can come up with specific questions over the weekend and see how far you can get.
Let's do it. Paul's enthusiasm to help me come up with innovative ways to communicate with Bashar was exciting. Creating the idea that if he can be proven to be true, that this interview could not only potentially lead the scientific community, but humanity profoundly forward. And this left me feeling
nervous. So I'm meeting with Darryl at his newly opened escape room to chat more about what I can expect from our upcoming interview. Wow.
Hey, welcome to Bago.
Hello,
Good to see you.
This
Thank
is the
you.
place, huh?
This is the place.
Yeah, I've actually never been to an escape room before.
Come on in.
What made you decide to do this type of business?
Well, we come out of the film industry like yourself.
Right.
And we just, you know, it's not necessarily a lucrative business for a lot of small indie films. So we wanted something a little different, but that used all the same skills. So we were thinking about things like, you know, every year they do haunted houses and stuff like that. But then we thought, well, we want something that lasts all year. And somebody just kind of said, well, why don't you do an escape room? And we were kind of like, well, what's that?
Right.
And we started doing research and we started doing escape rooms ourselves. And we just got so excited about it. We said, let's do one.
Let's do our own.
And
that
here
is
we
actually
are.
pretty cool.
Yeah, because again, we build sets, we tell stories. It's all the same stuff.
So did you do all of the painting in here?
I built every puzzle. Erica and my sister painted them all.
No way.
Yes.
It's actually interesting because our interview's next week.
Yes.
My interview with Bashar.
With Bashar.
And I actually feel unworthy and I feel really nervous and I feel this huge weight on my shoulders to ask the questions that need to be answered, the questions that everyone wants to hear.
Well, I think it's important that you do. Bashar is very giving, very interactive. He is doing this because he wants to help humanity for a variety of reasons. And this is the beginning of the way they actually initiate contact with the civilization.
Right.
So asking those questions and getting his responses is something that I think is important to him. And, you know, he's going to guide you through it. There's nothing to be nervous about.
But even now, you're talking and I'm just feeling like...
He's an old friend.
My heart's beating a million miles an hour. He's an old friend for you, yeah. So what is the process? Like, will you ask him if he'll do the interview with me? Have you done that already?
He will do it. That's why we're doing this.
Right.
If he said this wasn't appropriate, I wouldn't be
So
here.
he knows.
He already knows we're doing this, and he feels it's important to do this.
Right. Because you don't do that many one-on-one
No, not anymore.
meetings.
I used to do a lot of privates, but this now that I'm working on this takes up a lot of my schedule.
So are there any tips that you can give me about how to properly address the shark, communicate with him? Are there any things I shouldn't be talking about?
He doesn't usually give predictions, and he has a particular philosophy about why not, and you can certainly ask him about that idea and have him explain what that's all about. Again, he'll very gently guide you in terms of if you ask something he doesn't feel he can talk about, he'll guide you to say, well, you know, that's not something we can do.
Okay, he's not just going to shut down and be like...
No, not at all. He's very engaging.
I think one thing I have to keep reminding myself is this is somebody that, a being that is highly evolved, and with evolution comes a lot more humility and less ego, right?
Yeah, and a lot more laughter.
Right. So you don't think if I ask the wrong question, he'll be like, get out?
No,
No?
not at all.
Okay.
He understands where humanity is coming from.
Right.
And he's very gentle in guiding people to understand what's really important to focus on. So don't be afraid.
I think that went well. I mean, it went well. Like, I definitely feel less stressed out about it. I think ultimately, the more time I spend with Darryl, the more I feel like he kind of is becoming a friend in a way. So I just need to sort of treat it like that. I'm interviewing a friend that's got this really special ability, you know. I'm just a bit worried about the questions though, because I feel like with all the experts that we're visiting, they're giving us all these questions about the universe. Like, I kind of want to know, who is Bashar? Where is he from? What does he want? Why is he visiting here? Has he been teaching things to Darryl that Darryl now uses in his everyday life? I mean...
Yeah, I mean, that's who you're going to be sitting down with. So.
Yeah, so I want to see if maybe we can arrange a time to see him again.
At least one more time, I think, before
the interview.
Before you sit down with Bashar.
Yeah. I feel like if I can get him alone, I'm just going to be able to get, like, more real, honest answers.
Yeah, why don't you invite him to your house?
Honestly, it's not a bad idea.
Because then if he's in my environment, maybe he'll just be a little bit more relaxed and disarmed. We could get some wine.
Yeah, butter him up a little
bit of truth serum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's probably a good idea.
We'll reach out, see if he'll agree.
Yeah. I'll shoot him a text.
Okay. You're going to be very impressed. Look at the name of the wine.
Boggle.
Boggle. I think it's a different spelling, but...
Slightly,
it's
but
still,
who cares?
It's still kind of cute. I like it. I like a good Merlot. Would you call yourself a wine-drinking man?
Oh, now and then.
Yeah. What should we toast to?
Life.
To life.
Passion.
To passion.
The passion is the beginning of your path, following it. It's the driving force. It's what makes things happen. It's what allows the manifestation to flow if you also follow the rest of the principles, which basically is that, you know, synchronicity becomes the organizing principle of your life. It becomes the path of least resistance. And everyone has their path. And that's the thing that Bashar has said over and over again. It's like you can share whatever information is appropriate for you to share. You're not about to force things on them or anything like that, but you're giving them an opportunity to consider another path. But what they do with that information, he says, it's none of your business because you don't know their path. You don't know that they have to go through certain things to learn certain lessons in their way. And it may not be time for them to understand these principles. Maybe someday they'll get it. But remember, we're all infinite, eternal spirits. There's no hurry.
Does Bashar have like a collective goal? Like a more humanity-based goal, or is it more that if everybody kind of acts this way, then...
Well, it's both. It's both. Use the information on an individual level, and you become a living example that others in the community can see. But the idea of the collective goal, if there is a goal on his part, which he has no agenda about, no insistence about, is, as I said, he's a first contact specialist.
Right.
He has realized we're waking up, or at least many of us are. We're kind of putting out the invitation. We're becoming aware that we're not alone in the galaxy. We're exploring the expansion of consciousness. To them, that's an invitation to start saying, okay, well, here's some feedback, here's some information. Use it, don't use it. It's up to you to decide whether first contact happens. It's your planet, it's your reality, it's your culture. You make the decision.
So you still think it's in flux?
Absolutely.
So does that mean that Bashar's, or you know, whoever's telling him even, is saying that contact can happen around this period of time, but could we fuck it up? Excuse my language.
Well,
could we?
Here's the thing about it, and this is where it gets a little challenging for some people to understand, because the answer to that is multidimensional. We're beginning to explore the concept of parallel realities now. You're seeing it in all of our movies, TVs, things like that, books.
But it's hardly even a concept anymore. It's
People
almost
start to understand. But a lot of times what they forget is that a multitude of different Earths already exist. Right here, right now, side by side, we only see what we're attuned to. But as Bashar sort of described, it's already splitting to the point where you may be seeing people that are not vibrationally compatible with what you prefer, but that doesn't mean you're actually still in their reality. It's almost like there's a glass partition. And they're on that side and you're on this side, and you can still see and choose to be affected by what they're saying. They can still see you and choose to be affected by what you're saying.
Right.
But you can't actually necessarily experience the reality they're experiencing if you don't prefer to. But he says that's going to get more and more and more distinct. So it's almost like train tracks leaving the station in a multitude of directions. Pretty soon the trains will be so far apart you won't see them anymore. All you'll see are the ones that are on the train with you.
I just can't imagine what it's like to be you.
You know, someone asked me once, I'd never gotten this question before in an interview, because they always say, you know, who are you, what are you doing, and all that. This person asked me, what are you? And at first it kind of took me by surprise, because it had never been asked that before in that way. And
ask Darryl or ask Bashar? Or...
No, just what are you?
Yeah.
And I had to think about it for a while, and the answer I gave was just a little, at the time, was a little more specific about what I'm doing and all this kind of stuff. But the real answer I finally realized is, I am you from a different point of view. That's what I am, and that's what we all are. We are
I am
each
you
other
from
from
a different point of
point of
view.
view. Bashar's message for humanity is that we are equal to him. We are equal to the spirit. We are equal in ability. We are able to follow our passion, which will put us in touch with who we truly are, with our purpose in life, with our mission on earth, with our choices that we made. And it's easier for us then to understand why everything is happening the way it's happening, what we can always get out of it, what we can learn from it, how we can help, how we can be of service to others in a way that will expand our culture and evolve humanity in a very specific direction that will allow us one day to sort of be like the ways Bashar's civilization has been described.
Time is closing in on my upcoming interview with Bashar, and the pressure is beginning to weigh on me. I only have one chance to ask Bashar these important questions on behalf of the countless people I've met so far. Questions in which the answers have seemed impossible to find. Bashar generally appears in front of thousands of people at a time, sending messages to countless people across the globe. But today he'll be sitting down with me, and only me.
I think we got about 30 different questions from people from all different walks of life. So that's good. I mean, I've got my own questions, but I prefer not to write them down. I feel like I just want to...
You're really good at, like, the organic...
Right. I just want to, like, let it flow.
Yes.
Extraterrestrially?
It's good.
I don't look too much like a samurai.
I think you're worrying too much.
I'm really worrying.
I know.
I hope I just don't freeze. Like, this is the first time I'm taking questions with me. As you know, I normally don't. I like just to roll, but I feel with him, like, I don't want to just rock and roll. I want to get through everything. We're finally here.
Here we are.
I have to tell you, it's been such an incredible journey, and I want to thank you so much for letting me into your life.
Oh, my pleasure.
Darryl, and getting to know you. It's been a rabbit hole already, and now I'm about to have an interview with an extraterrestrial. This is a momentous occasion, so I just want to say thank you before we get started.
My pleasure.
You'll never know how much this means to me.
Oh, I appreciate the opportunity to allow him to share his message. So,
Well, thank you.
shall I let him come through?
Yes. Yes.
Give me just a minute, and then
I'll say goodbye.
see you later.
See you on the flip.
Yes. All right. I'd rather say good day to you this day of your time. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you, Bashar?
Perfect, thank you. Please, by all means, you may proceed however you wish, but allow us to thank you for the co-creation of this opportunity to exchange ideas and information with you.
Wow. Well, first of all, on behalf of humanity, I wanted to say thank you for coming here and trying, I guess, to help us out a little bit.
It is our passion and our pleasure to do so.
And thank you for agreeing to meet with me specifically. I don't know why you chose to do that, but I appreciate it.
Why shouldn't I?
Well, I don't know. I'm a mere mortal. I'm sure you've got plenty of other people you'd rather be talking to than me.
The timing is what it is,
Yes.
and we trust the timing to be communicating with whoever we are communicating with at that moment as the best possible thing that can be happening right now.
Ooh, wow, no pressure. But I'm excited to talk to you. So let me explain what I've been doing, Bashar. I went around and spoke to religious leaders, scientists, doctors, children, and also went within myself to craft a list of questions that I think everyone in the world wants answers to. So some of the things I ask will jump around from topic to topic, but I'm just hoping you can help us to unravel some of the riddles of the universe.
We will address them as appropriate.
Okay. And I apologize if you aren't happy with some of the questions.
There is no need to apologize.
Okay.
Happiness has nothing to do with it. We are always in joy. Some things may or may not be appropriate, but there is no emotional connection to the idea of whether they are or not.
Okay. Okay, well, I'll just get started. So a lot of people say that we're living in a computer, in a simulation. Are we?
You are living in your own simulation. Remember that physical reality is a projection of your consciousness. So a simulation, yes, but not one being put upon you other than the ones you yourselves, individually and collectively, are creating in order to allow you to experience the idea of yourself through the concept of physical reality. It's your projection, it's your simulation.
A lot of people believe that we evolved from, a being in the water to chimpanzees to Neanderthal man to now. But then a lot of other people believe that at some point, beings from another planet came here and altered our DNA to help us to fast track our intelligence and move forward quicker. Is that what happened? What happened?
In general, yes, although you did not evolve from chimpanzees. Chimpanzees is its own separate branch of evolution. There was an early form that you all branched off from, but eventually a hominid form, something similar to what you have labeled Homo erectus, evolved naturally on your planet. At that point, several 100,000 of your years ago, an extraterrestrial species that called themselves the Anu did in fact come to your world, and they were in search of certain minerals to assist them in the balancing of the atmosphere of their own world. Realizing what a monumental task it was, they decided to inject their own DNA, being master geneticists, into several of the hominid species that had evolved to a certain point and were similar enough to them to transform into those that could help them in this endeavor. Thus, they created from the original hominid form what came to be understood now as Homo sapiens.
I guess recorded history says that we haven't been intelligent for that long. They say that the pyramids was one of the first true surviving recorded records of history. But is that true, or have we had many incantations here that have been wiped out by tsunamis?
There have been several civilizations that have succumbed to the idea of cyclic disasters on your planet. What you call Lemuria, or originally what is known as Mu. The idea you call Atlantis has been destroyed by cometary impact and tsunamis. And the idea of the oldest pyramids, and many of them existing around your planet, were built as a reminder and a warning and an encapsulation of knowledge so that you would understand how to decode it, understand what would happen and what has happened in the future and the past, and allow yourselves perhaps the opportunity to avoid such calamity again in your future.
So a question that has plagued architects, historians for hundreds of years is, how did ancient Egyptians move those blocks to be able to construct that pyramid?
In some of the later pyramids, when some of the knowledge was lost, they used the idea of engineering knowledge of leverage and levers and cranes and so on and so forth, as has been surmised by many of your archaeologists. However, the oldest ones were done with a mix of technologies, including the idea of some levitation through sonic means, acoustic means, some of the idea also of softening the rock and pushing them into place and letting them re-harden again, almost like a casting, and some of the idea of certain kinds of electromagnetic technologies, but that came much earlier and was eventually lost.
Is there any of the technology that they had then that would benefit us now, that we could utilize now?
Yes, of course. Again, you are beginning to understand the concepts of vibrational resonance of certain materials, how they can be caused to vibrate with certain harmonics and allow for certain kinds of effects, such as, again, light and energy, electromagnetic fields, and so on and so forth. It's all about resonance. It's all about frequency, and you're beginning to learn this more and more.
Is there a way to fast track that knowledge, Bashar?
There is, if you understand how to utilize certain kinds of what you call ratios, golden ratios, phi ratios, Fibonacci sequences, as you've labeled them, in your construction of devices that would be like resonating capacitors to store these frequencies and amplify and magnify these frequencies. One device we have described to some people on your planet contains 3 spherical shells, the inner spherical shell of copper, no more than 1/8 of your inches thick, but better if only about 1/16. And then the next sphere that encompasses it being separated from it by the phi ratio of 1 to 1.618, and the third sphere separated again by another factor of 1 to 1.618. The central sphere containing what you call a Merkaba, the idea of a double interpenetrating pyramid that uses what you call a Sierpinski gasket formation, also of copper, that is isolated from the inner sphere with projections that you call antennae, spike antennae, projecting through the spheres, insulated from the spheres, where electromagnetic or electrical energy is input into this device to cause it to resonate, thus giving an output greater than what was input.
Whoa. I hope somebody understands that, because I did not.
The people that are building such devices do understand.
Of course. Okay, we're going to change topic a little. So, alien abduction has been something that has divided the UFO community, I guess. Many people believe that abductions occur. Many people believe that they don't. Can you explain to me whether or not abduction is happening and whether or not it's malevolent, or I guess why? What is the interest in human beings?
The idea here is to understand that there is something very large going on. It involves humanity, and it involves humanity from a parallel reality. The beings that you refer to in general, that are most often associated with the so-called detainment or abduction or contact phenomena, this idea is that they are mutated humans from a parallel version of Earth. They destroyed their version of Earth. They needed to mutate themselves in order to thrive to a certain point, but use their advanced technology to shift into parallel realities such as yours, where they would find viable human DNA that would allow them to perpetuate their civilization, because the destruction of their world had caused them to have the inability to reproduce, and they were dying out. Because of the mutation, they appear to you to be extraterrestrial. They are not. They are simply humans from another parallel version of Earth that have come to your version of Earth and other versions of Earth to gather human DNA to create hybrid species, such as my own civilization, in order to perpetuate their culture and survive. In return, as a gift, for the gift you have given them and us for our existence, we assist you by giving you information that ideally would prevent your culture from going down the same destructive path that their culture went down, so that you don't have to experience the same thing that they did.
Roswell is probably one of the most highly publicized UFO incidents, we call them over here.
Yes.
Some say it happened, some say it didn't. Was there a crash?
It did.
And
it's happened several times.
Right. Were there beings on that craft?
Yes.
And what happened to them?
Some of them died, some of them lived.
And so did the government, the army, the military take these beings and try to extract information from them?
Yes.
What happened?
As you say, they attempted to extract information and knowledge from them.
Were they successful?
To some degree, but not to the degree that they would have liked.
There's a man by the name of Bob Lazar who claims that he actually saw the craft and then worked to reverse engineer the craft for the US government. Do you believe that this is true?
Belief has nothing to do with it. This is correct.
True? It is. And so do we currently have that technology? Were we able to harness it?
You have some degree of the technology in what, no offense, we would call a relatively primitive form. But yes, you do have some degree of that technology.
Right. So, you know, UFOs are appearing with more and more frequency all over the world, all of the time, every day.
No, you are just noticing them more often than not.
Right. But with these craft, are they made up of lots of different things, or are they mainly craft manned by extraterrestrial?
It is a mix. There are some sightings that have to do with advanced craft on your planet, not even those that were retro-engineered, as you say. Some sightings have to do with the retro-engineered craft that you're discussing now. Right. Some of them are extraterrestrial, and some of them are other kinds of phenomenology that you're not really familiar with yet. Extradimensional, interdimensional, intradimensional. There are many different levels to these ideas of sightings.
Talking about a civilization more advanced than ours that has UFOs that can fly from one edge of the universe to the other in a second, are they owned by the everyday extraterrestrial? And are the everyday extraterrestrial visiting us occasionally via space tourism?
It depends on the civilization. Some are allowed to observe, in a manner of speaking, but you must understand that your world, to some degree, is a little bit quarantined, a little bit hands-off, a little bit off limits, to allow for non-interference in your evolutionary path, aside from whatever information from sources such as myself and others that will not necessarily intervene, because you're given the opportunity to decide whether or not you wish to adopt it or believe in it at all. This is one of the reasons why we stay in the background. We do not wish to force our existence upon you. This is one of the ways in which first contact, at least for our civilization, occurs. We give you information through whatever sources are available to us to see what you will do with that information. We watch and we wait. And depending upon the actions and the choices you make, determines for us whether or not you're actually ready for open contact, ready to join the larger galactic family that exists all around you. So it's really in your hands. It's really up to you.
I've been told that there are many different alien civilizations. We hear of the Greys, we hear of the reptilians. There's so many different kinds.
More than you know.
Are there, well, how many? Like billions, millions?
Millions and millions.
Millions and millions.
Now, I myself, as a first contact specialist, have been in contact with over 150. But that is a drop in the bucket, as you say.
Over 150. And are any of these civilizations to be feared by us?
None that you have to worry about will ever reach you at this point.
Okay.
You are, in that sense, protected.
Do we possess the ability right now to be able to reverse climate change?
Some things you have done are now irreversible. You do have the ability to mitigate it. You do have the ability to adapt in clever and creative ways. But some of the things you have done are now irreversible. You will simply have to get used to it. But some things, yes, you can prevent.
Okay.
If you take physical action, a unified physical action.
Okay, I'm going to ask you a couple of mathematical questions that were given to me by a scientist.
Yes.
I don't even understand the questions I'm asking, so I'm hoping that you'll have a better chance than I will of answering them.
Perhaps.
Is every even number greater than 4 the sum of 2 primes?
Yes. Now, you have to understand, if you're going into the idea of mathematical notation and nomenclature, I am not speaking your language. I am simply harmonizing telepathically, and my thoughts are linking to the channel's thoughts, and the channel is acting as a translation device. If the vocabulary is not in the channel's mind, we may have a challenge expressing nomenclatures that he is unaware of.
Okay. I only have a few more questions for you, Bashar, before I let you go back to your amazing life in your other realm. This might sound like a strange question. I don't even know how to ask it properly, so I'll just do it as best as I can.
All right.
What question am I not asking you that I should be asking? What information do we need to know? What are we not asking that is so pertinent to our evolution?
Well, we have given you the idea of the formula, and in a sense, if there is any shoulds to it at all, which there aren't, that is the primary question you could be asking, is how do we live a life of creative fulfillment and joy? Because it's all about attracting what you need more than it is about attracting what you want. So how can we attract what we truly need to be creative, positive, constructive, giving, serving individuals who live lives of joy? And the formula has already been given to you.
Right.
The instruction manual is the answer to that question, which we would simply deem or suggest could be one of the most important questions you yourselves could ask.
Okay, so one question that everyone I've spoken to has asked me to ask is, can you tell us a little bit about the planet that you live on and what your life is like? What does it look like? What do you look like?
As a hybrid being made of human genetics from your world and from the genetics of the Greys and a few other species, I am similar to you in humanoid form, though much slighter, shall we say, much thinner in general, smaller in general. Our average height is about 5 feet. Our skin is usually very pale, though there are some exceptions. The males have no hair, the females do. It tends to be white, though again, there are exceptions. Our eyes are much larger than yours. Our noses, mouths, and ears much smaller. Our heads are slightly larger than yours on average. Our world is left mostly natural. We may construct certain structures from time to time for specific purposes. These structures are temporary and usually disassembled when they are no longer needed. Our spaceships are our cities. So the world is relatively natural. You could survive there if you make a shift to our parallel reality, though it is a little bit richer in oxygen and moisture. You might be a little dizzy at first, but you could acclimate to it.
I have one last question for you. Or I have 40 million questions for you, but this is the last one I'll ask you today.
All right.
And I really appreciate your time, Bashar. I consider myself to be a first contact specialist as well. I guess what I believe my mission is to help normalize the existence of extraterrestrial life so that people here can accept it and then can embrace it and hopefully bring forward a visitation. Is there anything that I can do or people like me can do to help influence those around us to feel more comfortable with this topic?
You can use your creativity and imagination as you're already doing, providing outlets for the sharing of the information. But the most important thing you can do is whatever people do with the information, you have to realize it's none of your business what they do with it.
Mm-hmm.
Whether they are influenced by it or not will be
Right.
their decision. None of them have to believe. Everyone has their own path. You don't know what their life path is. They may not have chosen a life path where they have first contact, and that's all right. Remember, you are all infinite, eternal spirits. There's no hurry. Something you don't learn today or experience today, you will learn tomorrow or a million years from now, because time is irrelevant in the spirit world.
Well, Bashar, thank you so much for your time.
It is our passion and our pleasure. We thank you for the interaction and the co-creation in service of Aveo. Good day.
Aveo. Good day.
How did it go?
Wow! That was incredible.
Yeah, go well?
Yes.
Oh, good. Good.
I just want to cry.
No, thank you for doing this. I appreciate it. Are you okay? Yeah? All right. Thank you.
You're amazing.
No, so are you.
You're amazing.
No, thank you all for doing this. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Did you have fun?
That was really intense. Sorry, do
Yes.
people do this?
No,
Probably.
he's intense. I understand.
Whoa.
I understand.
A major force in my head, reflections. I caught a heart.
Bashar's answers to life's questions are simple. But it's applying these answers to our everyday lives where we seem to fall short. Will the human race progress to its full potential? Will we one day embrace our role in our galactic family? Together, maybe we can. But it all starts with you.
Nighttime, it starts. I'm seeking stars, seeking stars. I'm seeking stars, side to side. I'm seeking stars, seeking stars. I'm seeking stars, side to side. I caught a heart on the 7 seas, filled with these memories. I let it go, it's not my own, it don't soul. The nighttime, it starts. The nighttime, it starts. The nighttime, it starts. The nighttime, it starts. Seeking stars, seeking stars. I'm seeking stars, side to side. I'm seeking stars,